Hello everyone. This video is just going to be a little video about waving. So when I think about waves, I personally think about science, nature, music, frequencies. I think about the elements. I think about sound, light, magnetism. I don't just think about dance. So in dance, waving has been kind of like restricted to one type of wave, which is called a sine wave, which just goes up and down. This is a sine wave, okay? It's just a very up and down motion. And typically this is referred to as a transverse wave because it's going up and down, which is a transverse motion. There's other types of waves that we can do. Even if we're just looking at the up and down types of waves, apart from a sine wave, we also have something called a sawtooth wave, we have a square wave, and we have triangle waves. So the shapes of the waves can change, okay? We also have spiral waves, where the wave is more longitudinal. So if a transverse wave goes up and down, longitude goes more like forwards and backwards, or like can be a spiral shape as well. So this typically referred to more as a longitudinal wave. Okay, and there's lots of interesting shapes of waves, which I'll actually put some on the screen for you. However, I'll put on screen right now just some different types of waves so you can see right here. Okay, you see on this picture how there is 4 types of waves: sine wave, triangle wave, sawtooth wave, square wave. We can do all those. However, in the picture, it just implies that the waves are going very two-dimensional, up and down. What we can do is we can take any one of those shapes and we can turn it on its side to make it more longitudinal instead of transverse. And what we get is these same shapes done like horizontally. It's flipped in a different direction. And now we can move this all around us. So if we take a shape like a triangle wave, boom, very triangular in shape. Okay. We can also, like what I'm talking about is they flip it. So we have these kind of, it's flipped. Same thing, we can take this type of wave and we can flip it on its side. And now we have, it's still a wave, it's flipped on its side. So when you see me doing things like square waves, like a lot of people may get intimidated, or they may think this is not waving because it's a very squared shape. That's actually incorrect. Factually, it's a very incorrect thing because square waves definitely exist. They're definitely a very real thing, and they're definitely a type of wave. So sometimes I'll be doing a wave like this, and I'll turn my wrist in, and then I'll come out like this. And because it's very like squared in shape, people think that may not be a wave. That's also incorrect. It's a square wave, it's just turned on its side, okay? So these are types of waves. Now, one thing I need to break down to you, which is very important, is you may see like a spiral wave. And there's different types of spiral waves. So typically a spiral wave I would refer to as like a corkscrew type of wave, right? This is a form of longitudinal wave. I'll also on screen, I'll put a picture for you up here of what that actually looks like according to science in the graph. Okay. Now, on screen, I'll show you another picture and you'll see how this particular spiral wave can change into actually more of a squared spiral. So rather than being a smooth circular spiral, it starts to develop some rough edges on it. As you can see on screen around here. Okay, so you can see how this particular spiral wave, it has some rough edges on it now. And some of these are all different shapes, right? So, what I want you to know is we have a lot of different types of waves, and I want you to just open your mind to how these waves can take different shapes, how they can be turned longitudinal or transverse. So yeah, I want you to really like play around with this, because the spiral wave that I do like this, flip it around a little bit more, you know, and we got stuff like that. And what you imagine as a wave in your head. Also, I want you to kind of change the way you think about waving a little bit. For example, if you know a water slide, have you ever been down a water slide? Whatever shape that water slide is, whether it's a spiral shape, the water is going down this water slide, like, you know? So, even though my hands aren't doing this, we could still like go, you know, so it's more like a water slide. Now we're forming this path that the water's going down. So this water, down its slide, or on its path, or let's say there's a river or something, like it's water's going down a river. The river could be like a man-made river, for example, like a canal or something, and this canal has a lot of right angles. It goes down, it goes boom, like this. So it's very much like the water's flowing along here. Now it goes down this stream. Now it goes down this stream. Or the water like turns around the corner or something. And then it's like the water's just falling down this path. And then the paths could be like a waterfall. You hit this waterfall, whoop, it's going down the waterfall, and now it's downstream, and now the stream goes forwards, backwards and stuff. Oh, another waterfall, and then it like starts to take on all these like directions and stuff. Okay, so the way you think about waving, you gotta imagine it in different ways. You gotta think about water slide, rivers. If I was to drop a stone in water, what would happen? The waves would actually form ripples, which is a type of wave. It would be circular in shape. So now this wave, it's become a circle, like a ripple. So yeah, you know what I mean? If you think about like a ripple wave, like we have these circular types of waves now, that the ripple. You know what I mean? So yeah, the waves could be all different shapes. Circles, they can be right angles or square waves. Sawtooth wave is probably the hardest type of wave, because we would have to kind of like bring that diagonal line straight down at one point, and then it's weird to get from here back to up here again. So we would have to be going like straight up and then straight down. Straight up, straight down. And then we have to go straight up, or straight up, down. And I just think for aesthetic purposes, the sawtooth wave, maybe we don't worry about that ones too much, because triangle wave just looks a little bit better, right? So we could be like straight up, straight down. So we can, I personally prefer the looks of triangle waves, because it's pretty much like the sawtooth wave, just without that steep incline where it falls off. So yeah, you got to think about now music. Music has layers of sounds. It's not just one sound. We have like two sounds. If we combine a high frequency and a low frequency at the same time, low frequencies could be like on a graph or something. It would be drawn like boom, 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 and a high frequency would be like up, up, up. So now we have one going up, one going down at the same time. I'll show you a graph, what I mean. So you see on this picture, more musical type of waves, and you'll notice down the bottom of the wave is low frequencies, and then you have high frequencies on top. And this actually forms shapes like this, where we go, one hand's doing low frequency, one is doing a high frequency. So it's very like parallel, and it's not like both hands have to be doing the same things. Like one hand could be doing high frequency, and then this could be moving at a different time or something like that. However, it's just easier to kind of like to show the person viewing, oh, there's a low frequency and a high frequency here. And if we did have two waves, maybe we just want like parallel waves. So like a very parallel type of waves, right? Maybe we want like both hands doing square waves. Okay, so now we have to figure out how can we make these waves more squared in shape. And this is like where you'd have to like get creative, you know. So yeah, you'd have to like figure out, okay, how can I make these waves square, right? Or maybe the wave takes on more of a square shape like this. So you may see me doing waves like this, and then I'll get into like some crisscross waves where two waves are like crossing over, because sometimes two waves can cross over at the same time, like the shape of light or magnetism. I'll show you a graph of what magnetism and light looks like. If you look at this graph, magnetism looks completely different and light looks completely different to a mechanical wave. So we have mechanical waves and we have light and stuff, right? So yeah, we could have like two waves like crossing over each other. We can also have like magnetism, like a wave could like be moving side to side, but then we could have like, you know, like just kind of from the side, we would imagine like it's kind of doing the same thing, right? One's moving up and down, one's moving side to side. So from the side, it would kind of give that illusion of like light or magnetism. From the front, it would just look like we're doing like polyrhythms or something, like one arm doing something else, and then, you know, and then we could like switch it. Okay. And yeah, like if we just think about waving a little bit differently, like how we can like turn the waves around and stuff, like we can change the lines and we can add lines and stuff to waves, then it just makes the waves a little bit cooler, right? If you have a laser beam, you point a laser, I'm sure on a scale it's gonna be, if you looked at it up close, it's gonna be a type of wavelength, right? To the viewer, it's just gonna look like a straight line. They use laser beams to measure straight lines because it just pretty much formed a straight line, if you looked at it. So we can take that concept, we could point a laser on a diagonal. We have a diagonal line, and it's essentially like light, pretty much. So, yeah, we can use that concept of like waving diagonally. It's like the wave doesn't always have to just take on like a formless shape. Like it doesn't have to always be like formless and stuff like that, you know. We can create form, we can create shape, we can create lines with waves, and that's the beauty of waving. Even part of waving that I love is isolations. It's like I love figuring out, okay, in each wave is an isolation. It's an isolation of the fingers, the knuckles, the wrist, the elbows, shoulders, from all of these points. I love to isolate and break it down. I love to see what I can do with each of my body parts when we're doing a wave. And that's what I would encourage people to do as well. Once you really learn how to wave, you also learn how to break down a wave into all of these isolations too. So hope that helps, guys. Peace out.